That's our slate.
Awesome.
Okay. So, I figured we'd start. Oh, you over here. Figured we'd start.
Yeah.
Real easy. Just kind of like getting to know you as KDJ, and kind of your story, like where you were born, grew up, kind of stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
where were you born?
I was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I was a United States born guy. I said that. Um, yeah, I was born in Cambridge. I was. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god. All right, so I was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I was born here. I was raised here all my life since I was born, pretty much. Like I used to go to Korea maybe like once every like 10 years. Not a really frequent visit, so you know, it's one of those things.
Do you have a lot of relatives around here?
Oh yeah, my mom's side is all here. Like my extended family is probably about, have like maybe 25 cousins and like however many aunts and uncles and huge extended family. But down in Korea, my dad's side, they're all there. So it's kind of like I go down to America, I have a lot of families down there. But if I go down to Korea, I have a lot of my dad's side. So not bad.
Do you Where'd you go to like elementary school and stuff?
I went to I went to Cabot. Yeah, it was Cabot School. I went to Cabot School from second to fifth grade, I think. Let's just say I went to Cabot School.
And how would you describe kind of your school experience? Like at least early on in school, earliest memories.
Well, are you talking about in school or in general?
In general, like you can like when you're really young.
Okay, so like when I was, yeah, I have a pretty long story.
We got a while.
Yeah. So I think my dad was like the CEO of his own like clothing store called J City, and it was really successful. We had many chains up in Boston. We're actually thinking about extending it to like other places in like New England. And like I was pretty well off when I was a kid. I was a bit spoiled, Whenever I see something on commercials on television, I see McDonald's, I see this video game with this toy. I'm just like, I go to my dad. I'm like, hey, I want this. And he's like, okay, get your jacket on, let's go. And I was like, yes, so beast. But I remember it was second grade. My dad and my mom went to a business trip down in Florida, and yeah, this is definitely when I was in second grade. Um, my dad had to go pick up some shipments, some jeans from China that he had imported, and so he needed a ride to the airport to pick up the merchandise. The thing is that my mom stayed at the hotel, but my dad needed a ride. So one of my dad's friends gave him a referral. It's like, oh, this guy can give you a ride. But what happened was, so this guy picks up. We'll call him Guy A. I don't know his real name, but Guy A picked up my dad and went to the airport to go pick up the jeans. Um, One of the stupidest things has happened when that happened. It was when I remember this. The guy went to a bar and he was pretty hammered. And my dad didn't go. He didn't go to the bar. He was completely sober, but he was sitting in the passenger seat, and this guy was driving. And then he was driving down, and then he dozed off on the wheel, crashed into a concrete brick wall. It was terrible. He crashed into like a little bridge section down there, and it completely smashed the passenger side. Completely just like annihilated the car, and like my dad was in like really bad shape. Like I remember he was I gotta say, like he was in a coma for like 2 months, like 2 weeks, and he had I think like a 2 month long amnesia. His right leg was completely busted. His spine was like in completely terrible condition. His left eye was like nearly blind at the time, and he had brain damage, which was the worst damage of all. And he got I think some frontal lobe damage, and it's like all that stuff happened, and the doctors were like, "Oh, this guy has only like a 10% chance of living." And he this was during the time when I was in second grade, and I remember my parents when they were gone. I was being taken care of by my uncle, and I remember going to Chuck E. Cheese that time. I know they took me down to Chuck E. Cheese's, and they were just like treating me out, and like, and I'm just like, oh wow, this is like a good celebration. I was like, oh, what's this for? I was like, oh, just have fun. And then I go back home, and I see my mom there, and I saw this ambulance in the driveway, and there's a stretcher, and we're just bringing my dad, carrying him into the house on a stretcher. And I see this, and as a second grader, it's you don't really understand the magnitude of how serious things are. And so my dad goes up to me, and he's like, oh, he sees me, right? And he's like, kind of like, he's a completely different man, because this is the time when he had amnesia. He didn't remember who I was. So he said like, oh, hello, my son, hello. And at the time, he had no idea who I was. It's kind of crazy. Um, so my dad had to go. He was sent to the hospital. I haven't seen him for about 6 years since then. And so during that moment when I was there, my father was in the hospital and recovering. My mom had to go to work because someone had to bring the bread into the table. But so most of the time I was by myself. When I was growing up, I didn't really rely on anyone. I just needed food, company, whatever, just food, just typical stuff like food and stuff. And a lot of the things that I did to really pass the time was like video games. And especially I used to play a lot of Street Fighter back in the day because, I get bored, being alone in the house because I was alone at the time. Really, I think video games was kind of like a good release, kind of like a good alternate way to do things. While I was by myself, and I actually had friends coming over to my place, and really, it's just like a really good thing to do to to release the stress and all that stuff. So I think during that time, I think that's why video games really mean a lot to me, because of the fact that I had to take care of myself, really, and I think kind of like the video games were kind of like a thing for me to do while I was home alone. Because I don't do homework. Who does homework?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, but I mean, my dad got back from the hospital, and he's just he was his attitude kind of like changed a bit, and he was a lot stricter to me because it's kind of like how brain damage works is that if something were to happen to somebody, if like brain damage were to happen to somebody, a certain part of their personality would change, whether like their memory or their their how easy can they control their emotions, which is what my father had the most difficult with. So he used to get mad, he gets get angry all the time and stuff, and that's like, oh my god, like all I do is just he just tells me to he gives me a book of vocabulary, tells you to memorize 20 words a day. It was killer. It was God, it was crazy. And and a lot of the times that I really didn't have I was playing video games a lot because really no one really told me like, okay, like you should stop playing video games like that, this and that. No one really told me that until my dad came back, because my dad was in no condition to work at the time. So all he was is staying home. All he was is boss me around, and he was just. I remember he just had his Sony PlayStation. I remember I had it, and I was playing Final Fantasy VII, and I remember I was playing that game, and then my dad just like flipped out one time because I didn't do good in school. I think back in middle school, came in and just like took this PS1 and just like slammed it to the floor, and I was like, God, that's crazy. All my CDs were like minced up, you know. They're probably like turned into dust, like all my PS1 games. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But it's hard to say because, you know, like when your father or someone you know like has brain damage, it's like he's not really in the fault. So I was living with like kind of like that kind of situation for a while until I think in high school was when my father really kind of backed out, and he's starting to see the effects that like treating me like this, you know, like how, or acting like, you know, so being so strict on me like any other Asian parent would do. He's thinking like, well, it's not working out. I'm gonna lay back for a while. And I'm like, yes. And then I remember the first game I took seriously, like the game that really like I just fell in love with was DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. It was the game that I just wanted to play like all day. I used to go to arcades. I used to go to like all the places and just spend like $10 a day on just like this on DDR. Until later on, my dad started seeing me. He's like, he saw me play DDR more than he saw me studying. So he's like, he got so upset. He just went downstairs to my gaming room and took the homemade like one of those pads, those DDR pads, just like tore it in half, like it was nothing. I was like, what? So that kind of killed DDR for me. I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? I backed down for that. And then I got an invitation from one of my friends. He's like, oh, dude, this guy has a pretty good Peach. I was like, Peach? So yeah, for Smash Brothers Melee. I was like, who? He said, what's that game? I never, like, I used to play it like occasionally, like we all do, you know. But we all roll spam. We all just mash B moves all day. So he invited me over, and this guy named Philip invited me over, playing against this Peach player. And this was back in high school, I think in sophomore year. And I remember because all we do is 3-for-alls. All we do is 3-for-alls all day. And it was so bad because I would just get third place all day. Like I would just lose. Like my friend would play Ganon, and he'd play Peach. I'd play like Samus or Mario, or just some character, and I'm just like, I don't get this game. Like this game makes no sense to me. It's like you just, but like, even though like I hate to lose. I'm like such a competitive guy that even though like I'm not that good, I still come over because I want to get better. So because they always trash talk me all the day, all they do, and I can't talk back because I keep getting third. There's nothing I can do about it. So what happened was, I remember this one time, my friend, he said, you should go play Peach. You should go play Peach like me. And I'm like, nah, screw you, Brian. His name is Brian, by the way. And I was like, let me try out Sheik, just randomly. So I played Sheik, and I remember, oh god, I was like, oh, Sheik is so good because she could turn into Zelda, stuff like that. And it was like the most basic stuff that like I was so embarrassed about. And what happened was, I remember when I play a Sheik, I was like, oh, this down smash is good. I started to get good. And I started to get second. I beat my friend Philip, but I don't beat my friend Brian, who was actually the best in the city, apparently. So I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna work on this Sheik technology. I'm gonna learn. All right, I'm gonna learn how to forward smash better, learn how to up smash better, and learn how to live better, and stuff like that. But then I was like, damn, like something about it, just like for some reason I couldn't get to the next level. It just kind of pissed me off. And I remember the most defining moment in like my Smash career was my very first tournament in my high school, and I remember it was me and Brian, the Peach player, making it. We were in the separate brackets and we were just tooling on everybody because they had no idea how to play. We didn't know how to play either, but that's besides the point. We were tooling on everybody, and then it came down to me and Brian, grand finals, final destination, because we're all like, yeah, it's the final destination, so it should be the last stage, the final stage. So, anyways, we played, and we played a best of one, 4 stocks, and I remembered I was playing like my absolute best, and he was playing his absolute best too, and we're just going at it at each other, just wailing on it, and it just came down to the last stock, 100% each, and then he just started spamming down smash like all day, and I started getting nervous, and I started getting hit by them. I was like, oh my god. I was like, no, I can't. I'm at like 161, still living for some reason, and then he did one final down smash because I messed up. I upbeat Sheik, and I didn't go onto the ledge. I went to the stage, and he saw that, and he just pressed down A. He says down A. He just says down A. Just completely destroyed me, and I just died. He uses down air, and I'm just like, down A. I keep saying down air. So he kept doing his down A, and I just died, and I was just like, God. I was so like angry at the time, like, I couldn't believe it. I lost. Like, I trained too. Like, I really trained hard. I still lost. And I remember I was walking home with one of my friends down back to my house. And he was like, don't worry, man, you would get him next time, And like, don't worry, it's just the tournament. And I'm like, no, screw this. No, I will not lose. No, that's bullshit. Like, I will beat him. Not only that, I will be the best in the city. I'll be the best in the state. I'll be the best in the region, the best in the coast, the best in the country, then the best in the world. And I ain't gonna stop until I get there. And that is what catapulted me into the Smash community. Funny story is that at the tournament, when we were getting the prizes, right? And he got a choice between a $15 gift certificate to Target or a $15 gift certificate to this bakery shop. So he's like, oh, I'm going to take the bakery shop. You can have the Target gift card. I'm like, sweet. I took it. I went down there, and I was going to buy some game. And it's like, oh, you have $35 left. I'm like, huh? I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I can get a couple other things. I just bought like everything I could. I just like spent that gift card right away. So it's kind of like poetic justice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder if his bakery card had a more too.
Oh, he told me. He said no.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The the phase where you were in DDR, was that kind of like, because that's a really physical thing. Was it the physical thing, or was it just kind of the, it about the DDR that kind of attracted you to the game at first?
DDR was like kind of the thing where I saw there was a community for it because I was watching videos on it. Um, I see people freestyling on it and doing all this stuff, and there was like a huge like crowd, and they all have this common bond. They're all there, to play DDR. In my school, there was like, like not many people who play games, not people who like really kind of get that culture behind it. So I'm thinking like that's interesting. So there's like it opens up a whole new world on like who can like of all, just the community was there. I guess you could say the physical aspect, which is really funny. I opened up a DDR club at my school, which I appealed because I was like, you play DDR, it's a more active thing because you won't be like the lamos who just play on the controls, sit down and play on the controls all the time. You're actually moving. It's ironic because look at me now.
Dude, it's funny, like, I don't know, when you do, like, DDR stuff, I mean, because I try to do, like, rock band and stuff like that, in that style, was the DDR is kind of similar, right? It's the, if
Yeah.
you had to describe DDR to someone who hadn't, like, seen it.
Yeah, so DDR is like this kind of like this game where you're on a pad and you press like there's like an up, down, left, right, and then you press the sequences, right? And the arrow comes up, and it's like kind of like Rock Band. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a rhythm game, and you just press your feet in your pad, right? You press up, down, left, right with your feet, and you just like you press like doubles and stuff, and sometimes if it gets really hard, you can press like go like crazy and just go all over the place like you're tap dancing.
Nice.
It's crazy, and and I think what really appealed to me was I was very passionate about I just saw like it was just magical. It was like when I saw DDR, I was like I didn't even want to do it for the competitiveness. I would do it because I think it looked fun. I just had a lot of fun playing it. It's just a fun game. And this was back in the DDR boom, I think in 2001 to 2006, roughly. That was a DDR boom. Like, everyone was going crazy over it. And that's kind of why I liked it, I was into the fad, I was kind of like into the scene and all that.
And you said that the school wasn't really big on it, I guess, or?
My school, actually, no. I actually had a huge following in my school. And then, which is ironic, because the year after that, I shut down the DDR club and I did the Smash Club. And the same people who were in the DDR club went to the Smash Club, and it was twice as big. So it was good.
What if you had to look back on it now, do you connect, what happened with your father, with like how you became to be very obsessed about making a mark and being the best, or are those two things not related?
I can say that my father was going through a lot of difficulties, and he was in like such a terrible shape. Like, jeez, I can't even imagine. And just the fact that he built up this business, right? He was a hard worker. He was building up this business, this corporation. And just to have it like almost taken away from him, like that. I mean, that's just terrible. You've been working on something for, years and years and years. Have it all taken away from you, it's crushing. I mean, I can't even imagine how that would feel like. But the thing is that my father he was in such terrible shape. My doctors didn't really have that much confidence and faith in him, and like making a full recovery. My father, he just wouldn't give up. Like, he just didn't care. He just wanted to just get better, and he just wants to become. He just didn't listen to the people telling him, you can't do this, you can't do that. He just did it. He had such a strong will. Really, he had like a strong and enormous will, and he just got better and better and better and better and better. So went from, oh, this man can't live. He has a 10% chance of living. He lives. This man can never walk again. He can walk now. He can run. He can jog. He can jump. He can lift heavy things. His his back is making a recovery. His memory, he has good control over his, emotions now. And I think he's back at work now. Surprising. Just to see that happen, it's really inspirational. Like to see him like going through all this stuff. It's like my dad, of all people, going through all this stuff. And it's like, so what can I do? Really? With that kind of will, what can I do? And it really really made me think for a while. And like I decided, like, my dad made a mark on me, so I'm gonna make a mark on the world. In one way or another. It really kind of inspired me to, like, really be the best that I can be, and like, really don't take like, don't go like halfway. Like, you want to do something, you want to just take it all the way, and just do the best you can.
Nice. The we covered a lot of that. How would you describe kind of like you know, it's that community that I've noticed in Smash Brothers that is so great. Everybody, doesn't matter who you are, you know. Was there that kind of same? Did you get a lot of like your friends and stuff like from that kind of community and stuff? Or?
Yeah, some of my closest friends I actually met through Smash tournaments, really, and I think it's just the Smash community in general is just fantastic. Like, you can make a lot of good friends, and really the people there, like, I really trust them. Like, if I leave a GameCube, a TV there, I'm not gonna have second thoughts that it's gonna be gone. Like, I really can trust these guys, and I think it's really like they're very kind of close. They're tight knit, especially around the local scene. Especially local scenes, it's like it's a really good community, and I'm glad for every single like one of the guys that are in the community that they're there. And I think like each individual person that's in the scene really like makes a difference and like really adds to the community, really adds to the game. And with that, it just multiplies and just becomes awesome.
Now to the very important issue. Favorite food.
See, I mean, I could go. It's hard. Favorite food. God, I don't, because I want to be saying like, oh, it's filet mignon or anything really fancy, but I'm just gonna be lame. I'm gonna say the most simple thing is a double cheeseburger, grade A meat, with onions, lettuce, ketchup, mayonnaise. Hold the mayonnaise. Add bacon strips, and over hard egg on there. And with fries and a Guinness. That's all I need.
Hell yeah. Yeah, especially this time of year.
Oh yeah.
It's getting into the cold weather. Did you ever, are you big on music at all?
Yeah, I love music. Music is actually a huge passion of mine. Like, I almost went to college for music. I almost went to Berklee Music School, actually, for the violin. Because I remember when I was like 6 years old, I picked up the violin. I think I had like a toothache at the time too. And I had like huge teeth problems because, when you're growing up, you have teeth problems. And really, I kind of associated that with the violin playing when I was young. So I was like, every time I play the violin, like, my tooth hurts. So it's like, I don't want to play violin anymore. It's like kind of like the Pavlov's theory. But now I got older. My parents kind of pushed it on me again in high school. He's like, here, here's a violin, take a tutoring, and then like go to the orchestra for high school. And I was like, wait, I've only played this for like a year, not even, and I'm gonna be playing with people who've been playing it for like 13 years. Like, okay, sure. I was down there. I remember the first orchestra meeting I had was absolutely horrifying because I couldn't read sheet music, and all I did was I just play by ear. What I just listened to like what my people next to me. Like at first I do the I play the violin. I just like kind of like put it like not touching the string, so it's like, hey, I'm playing. But now I like listen. I get the melody down, and I'm like I just play it down, and I just go, because we go by measure by measure by measure. And then when it goes down to the next one, the next measure, I'm like, all right, how's it go? And like try to like memorize it, and then it goes down, and then it's like memorizing a phone number. Like that's how I imagine orchestra was like. Came down to I think think in senior year of high school, I for some reason I became the concert master of the orchestra with only 4 years of experience of playing the violin. And I just went from this guy who just has absolutely no idea how to read sheet music to becoming the concert master in 4 years. I was like, I don't know how that happened. Now, I quit the violin when I was in college because I hate doing things that I'm kind of obligated on doing, like especially hobbies. Like, but after a while, I was like kind of like jam. I was like listening to some like games, like listening to like the soundtracks. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good song to jam to, like Chrono Cross, Scar of Time, like all the Final Fantasy songs or whatever. I just pick up violin, I just jam with it. I just go with it. I'm like, wow, violin is awesome. I'm gonna get back into it. And it turns out like I became like I just realized I had like a huge passion for music, and like I really had I could like memorize like melodies like instantly, and I'm just like, yeah, I want to like keep going with this. And so I'm starting to learn the piano, learning the guitar right now, and for some reason I picked up an ocarina. I don't know why, but and I'm actually what I'm doing right now is that I'm doing a YouTube channel called KDJ Music 111. Um, and that's my name of my channel. I put up all my violin like covers that I do up there, and just doing it. I'm not really looking for anything. I'm not looking for revenue or anything. I'm just doing it because it's fun. I want to do it because it's something different that I normally do.
Nice. It's funny. My brother's actually in the process of learning violin too. He's
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's gotten the bug.
Ah, nice.
Let me think here. In terms of when you were a kid, um, what would you say was your big dream to be when you were growing up?
My dream was to become the CEO of Sony.
Nice.
If I did that now, I would have second thoughts. But I mean, that's what my dream was to become like a CEO. Cause like I know my dad was like a CEO of his own job. Like he listened to nobody. I thought that was really cool. I'm like, yeah, I want to listen to nobody. I want to be my own rule. I want to make my own rules and stuff. And like I had that mentality in elementary school, and I got in so much trouble. Just having that attitude of like I don't care about anything. It's like I make my own rules. Oh jeez, it was bad.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that was what I wanted to be. Like not an astronaut, not. I don't want to be an astronaut. I don't want to be a policeman. I just want to be the kind of guy that runs his own show, kind of his own deal. Back in the day.
Did you find expression with that, and like because you were so doggedly against losing at all it costs. Was that kind of manifested there?
I guess you could say that I'm kind of. I guess I'm kind of like more competitive in a way that yeah, like I guess business is all about competition. You know, I don't know how much of a successful businessman I'd be right now. I mean, I'm training. That's why I'm training. But I mean, I have a good sense of of money and kind of like trends and stuff like that. And I'm kind of learning about different things here and there about the way like how money works. And really, it's about really playing. It's about being smart. And really, though, it's about working hard. Like, because I know like my dad went through a lot of work. Like he'd come home like 10, 11 p.m., go to work at like 7 in the morning. I mean, it's just hard work. And I was like, yeah, I can do hard work. So I was like gonna go into a job that's not gonna be easy. I don't know if it'd be fun, but it'd be interesting.
Totally.
Interesting.
Um, cool. All right. To the Smash, the era of Smash. Um, when did you start playing the? Because you said that you had no idea, kind of like what's a peach when you first started playing. Had you heard of the first game at all?
Well, I should. What I meant, like, yeah, for like, what's a peach? I meant like peach for what? Like Super Mario.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like I knew the Nintendo franchise. I knew them very well.
Yeah.
I just like I never heard of like the heroine you're supposed to save. Like the damsel in distress. You're playing as her. I'm like, what? But I heard of N64. I used to play Smash 64 occasionally. Me and my friends used to play it back when I was in 5th grade. Um, we'd be like grazed through that. Like I used to play like my favorite game back when I was a kid was like Parappa the Rappa, which is probably why I like DDR because it reminds me of Parappa the Rappa. I think Parappa the Rappa is like that and Guitar Man are like the two best games ever. Um, and I remember going on GameFAQs back in the day. Because me and my friends used to go to GameFAQs all the time for like searching up like tricks and cheats and stuff. And we were like going up character guides. And we're like, okay, we can look it up. And it said like, we're going through the characters list and the details and how good a character is. And they're like, we read it and it's like, we were reading it and my friend was reading it. It's like, oh, this guide is BS. I was like, why? I was like, oh, because it says Pikachu is the best character in the game. And I was like, yeah, that can't be right. Pikachu sucks. He's terrible. He's terrible in 64. And it's like, yeah, then we just like close the guide immediately. And we like, I think that's what like deterred us from actually learning the game for 64. Little do we know, Pikachu is by far the best character in the game.
I was always wondering about that, like why he was,
Yeah,
but
one of those things.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you really started playing like at the tournament.
Yeah.
With Brian and Phil.
Yeah.
After you dedicated yourself to the worldwide conquest.
Yeah.
Had you settled on a character at that point?
Hold on, you want me to restart this?
Oh yeah, sure. Actually, is it cool if we
Turn it off?
Oh no, it's just fine to keep it going.
Uh,
I think the Wii is making clicking noises. It's pretty quiet, but
yeah.
Perfect. Take this opportunity to.
Yeah, good call. Good call. I realized there was a lot of clicking noises.
We'll run out of. Have to change the card soon, but.
Okay.
I'll let you know when that happens. So yeah, your character at that point.
Which point? Sorry.
You had decided to be the best, and had you settled on Sheik or boxing?
That Sheik was my back in the day. I think like Sheik was my oh god, yeah, Sheik was the character of my choice at the time because you don't have to really out canceling was not as important with her as other characters, so you can kind of get away with certain things. Um, but I remember a friend of mine showed me is like, dude, this is forums that's all about Smash boards. He's like the Smash boards forums, like it's like mad good to go to, and I'm like, I'll take a look at it. And I opened it up and I was like L canceling, wave dashing. Yeah, I know that. L canceling is when you hold L to block, and wave dashing is when you like roll. So I got that. So I was like, I thought I knew everything, and then I played against my friend. I got a crap. So I was going through I was trying to meet some more people because I wanted to get better. So I was like going to like many different people. It's like, all right, I want to be better. I want to play you. I want to play you. I want to play you, and say stuff. I remember I was talking to someone. He's like, this guy named Psycho or something like that. But he's like, yeah, I'm not that good. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not that good either, but I'm not that bad, because I didn't know competition at the time, and turns out there's also another people. It's like the first Smasher I played against, the real Smasher. There's two of them. There was Jinx and Bob Bang. Falco and a Falcon player. Oh, the most humbling experience of my life. Oh my goodness. It's like that first time when you're good. Everyone has that moment where they're good. They think they're good at Smash because they can beat, their neighbors. They could be the best kid in the block. As soon as you step in on the real in the real game, step up to home plate. You just get crushed. It's completely demoralizing. I mean, it's just like a rude awakening. Like I was just not aware. I was not ready for the whooping that I was gonna get. The characters that they played, yeah. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, Jinx and Bob Bang, I played against them, and turns out I was trying to fool around with like other characters stuff, and I was reading this guide. I was like, I like Fox. He's pretty fast. But I like Sheik too. So I was like at an impasse. So I was watching a lot of Captain Jack videos back then. Captain Jack was like my main motivating factor for me to say when it comes to my Sheik. I think Captain Jack really inspired me and kind of influenced my playstyle actually in certain ways. And I remember reading a guide for Fox, one of the Smashboards Fox that Cunning Kitsune. It was Cunning Kitsune's guide for Fox. And I remember reading that, and it was talking, there's a huge chapter about the shine. And I'm just like, so the shine's that good, huh? I didn't even realize. Okay, that's cool. But yeah, so I was reading his guide, and I was actually learning a lot from it. And he was kind of like him and Ken's Fox were like the two inspirations for me. And so I was going back and forth between Ken and the Fox and Sheik. And so I started to get really technical when I was actually learning how to L cancel and wave dash. Because back in the day, when you have no one to really tell you, back then, I think 2005, YouTube was not even I don't even think YouTube was out yet. And if it wasn't a big thing at the time. It was very new. Smash, through me, it was through reading forums all day. That's all I do is read forums.
What was there was a site, it was like D++ or something?
Oh, the videos that I...
Yeah, was
so
that later?
Oh, no, this is during the time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the few videos that I got was from DC++. Obviously, there's no how to wave dash, how to L cancel. There's none of that. They do not tell you anything. It's all written up. It's all typed up. You had to read it. And if no one was really there to, sit down with you and go through the patience of, putting on a training wheel and kind of steering you before you can get onto a bike, it's hard. It's hard to learn the basics by yourself. And I think one of the benefits of learning the game now is that you go on YouTube, it's countless. There's so many videos. How to wave dash, how to L cancel and all this stuff. How to not play like a noob. It's a lot of videos like that. So I think now is a good time to learn than anything that it was back then. Well, it was tough. But I guess it must have been even tough before then, during Ken's era. When they were playing, I remember them playing. Ken was playing with items at the time. Oh, we went through a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I gotta get a water.
Yeah. Keep on closing the book. Okay. So when did you actively practice, or was it just more a matter of doing it for fun, or would you sit there and do shuffles over and over and over?
Well, when I was practicing Fox for the first during my early years, learning how to L cancel and how to shine and stuff, I was playing on a really big screen TV that was really laggy. So it was pretty funny sitting down. I remember this one time I had this big plan going on a Saturday, and then all the plans just completely fell through. So I had a Saturday completely free. So I think it's I only done this once, but I remember I sat down for 7 hours in training mode with Fox, just going all at it, and I was just practicing all of his combos, all of his drill shines, going on it on a laggy TV. I didn't realize it was laggy because when you're learning the game, you don't realize if it's laggy or if it's not laggy. Like a guitarist, learning how to play, you can't really tell if it's a good guitar or a bad guitar. It's kind of hard to differentiate. A lot of times when I was practicing though, I always practice with other people. It's really mandatory because the thing about training mode nowadays, in fighting games, you can there's no DI. So combos are automatic. In other fighting games, you can actually kind of control and record the other person doing something, and you can figure out a way how to get out of that. And you can create situations where they kind of put you in a corner, or you have a lot of difficulty. It's difficult, so it's one of those things.
Yeah. In that aspect, it's a very you almost have to be at least a little bit social. You have to go and there's that stigma with video games. It's antisocial, but you have to go meet people. And
I think one of the best things about this game. Wow. I think one of the best things about this game is that it can go there's no online. I think that's the best thing about it, because I think the online community it would reach out to a wider audience, but I think the community would be a lot different now if it had online than if it didn't. So I think that's really important for the community, that it's really, really good for it to be social. That's one of the things. I always go down to my friend's house, get a couple of games in. All I did. Oh jeez, hold on. Can you do me a quick favor? Can you open the door real quickly?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just tell my mom to turn off the TV.
Yeah, sure.
Oma, can you turn off the TV? Because I'm recording right now. I'm having an interview. Can you turn off the TV?
Right.
And can you dishwash? Can you dishwash a little bit later?
I did that almost done.
Okay, can you turn off the TV though? It's important.
Okay.
Right now, 지금요. Yeah, I was noticing. Does it pick up?
It's not too bad because it's a very localized.
Oh, okay.
But you know, fewer sounds the better. That way, you know, if I had to default to this audio out of my mic, I can do that too.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Anyways,
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the social aspect.
yeah. So
Um,
I always go down with my friends, and I always bring my game cubes over, and I'll be like, yeah, let's get some sessions going. Let's get some sessions all day. I remember one time I went to I used to drive down to Fall River, which is like an hour drive each way every Saturday, just to go to sessions, go to tournaments. I used to play with the Fall River crew. It was the Ninja Turtles. It was Crazy Jones, Hayato, Roga, Eve, Unknown Force, all those guys. I used to play with them all the time, and I was like, that's how I like really trained too, and I trained a lot. I traveled a lot with them, and like I just love it because it's so funny because they're the Fall River crew, like the Ninja Turtles. Those guys are so funny. Like, Crazy Jones, Hayato. He's a pretty famous Street player. He was a really old school Street player. He always goes, "Kid's so good, kid's so good." It's just so funny. It's awesome. And I remember one time I went to a STDs, which is Smash Till Dawn. It's the strangest like acronym ever. It's like, what are you calling it? Like, I guess I just went to an STD. He's like, what? It was the strangest thing. It's wild. I went down to PC Christmas for an STD. So funny. Anyways, I went down to PC Chris's place, and I went down driving there. It was like a 4-hour drive down there, and I went there, played with him from 3 p.m. to 5 a.m. non-stop. I don't even remember getting food. Did we get food? I don't even remember. But the important thing was that I had to drive back from New York a lot. And it was crazy because let me start over.
yeah.
So, and the crazy thing about that thing is that I had to drive back with no sleep, 4-hour drive. And I was like, oh, I'm dead. I'm tired. But I think it was worth it, though. Hell, I think it was worth it. Like, I don't care. I don't care if I almost crashed. It was worth it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you I guess New York is, I think 5 hours away, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was there a time when you started to realize that you were gaining ground on your compatriots and starting to get really, really good?
I remember hosting a lot of tournaments back then, and I used to host tournaments at this. At first, I hosted at this teen center, and it was terrible because anyone over 21 was not allowed to enter. I didn't know this. They didn't tell me that until the day of, when I had people 24, 25 years old coming in, and then they kicking a lot of people out. I just felt so bad. But I think I started out canceling more. I started to pick up speed with my tech skill. Like, my tech skill started to get really good, and I was like learning how to shine spike really well. I think I just kicked something.
Oh, this is just a battery thing. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was starting to get momentum with my out canceling and my tech chasing and everything, and I usually, though, in my tournaments, I think this is back in 2005, I was doing okay. I was getting maybe 9th place in my local tournaments, which is decent. but I wasn't satisfied. I was good, but I mean, the first people who were always, kicking ass was Crazy Jones, Peach, Hayato Sheik, and Jinx's like Falco, and like they would always dominate, and it was starting to be when I played. See, my matchup against Peach, like all the Peach players that I know was like a hurdle to me. It's like my close friend like Brian was playing Peach, and he was like the best in the city. And now we got Crazy Jones, who was the best in the state. Like he was my next like target. Like I wanted to like overpass him because he was such a good player. He was so smart too. It's ridiculous. And he doesn't even know how to L cancel. He told me because he just flow cancel all day. But it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating for me because all my matches were Peaches. All of my matches were Peaches, like the hurdle. And then we got Armada coming in over here with his Peach. And it's just like my... But anyways.
Yeah, was it like when you finally beat Crazy Jones or like, were obviously better? Was that like a turning point for you? Like,
I was... They would host tournaments a lot. Like the Ninja Turtles would host tournaments a lot in Fall River, and I used to go down there and play with them and like enter. For some reason, every time I entered, I do a little better and better and better. For some reason, and I just get better and better and better. And I think one time I think I got third place, and I took a really close set with Crazy Jones, and I was like, wow, I'm starting to get better. The thing that I did, now I'm so sad I lost this Word document, was, and I'm going back and forth here, but I'm going all over the place, but this is before I was going there, was I wrote down a list of all the people around me in my local area who's better than me, even by slightly. And I measure it up by skill of how much better are they to me and how much better are they. And I usually have, this one guy that's like, could get 8th place when I got 9th place, I get 8th place. Like I took a look at that. And I think about how do I do against those guys, and how badly do I lose against them. And I write down a list. And then I keep a list of the people who are like close to me too. Like I keep track of 4 people who are like below me. So that way I know exactly where I stand. And I think it's better for me. What I did was, it was like a ladder process. I do it step by step by step by step by step. Like inch by inch. I want to get better slowly and surely. Because I'd rather see consistent improvement than just like an explosion of improvement and then just like completely stagnant from there. Like I've always wanted to get steady improvement, like little by little. So it always goes down, and I always like beat the next person up in line. I always like focus on the matchup, against like this Falco player, okay, against this Marth, okay, against this young Link. I don't know why. This young Link. And I started working on it, and that's how like I was very methodical with how I was training and how to get better. And that's how I can it really encourages, people. How people, they say like, if they want to like, get better or something, they always want to keep track of milestones. Like I had many milestones. Like when I beat my friend Brian in Peach, it was a milestone. And then as I'm beating these individual people, and I feel like there's like a bracket, like I bunch these people up, and like up to here, if I go up to here, it's a milestone. If I go up to here, it's a milestone. And then like the third best, the second best, the first best, each of those is their own milestone in a way. And I'm very, 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 very methodical with that. And with I'm trying to think about now. When I was training, right, and I was very aggressive. I was very aggressive in terms of like my methods and my kind of like my play style. Very aggressive player. Especially back during the day. That's all I did. Was like, I actually did limitations on myself. Like, all right, this time I'm not gonna block. Like, I'm just not gonna block. Like, I'm gonna ban blocking from me. And it's like certain things where, like, I banned certain moves. Where it's like, all right, this one I can't use to shine. Okay, this one I can only use to shine. And it's just so silly, but it really gives you like a good perspective on like how flexible is your character and really how far can you go, without this move, and it's really gives me like good insight to things.
You were really aggressive like when you started.
Yeah, I was so aggressive. I started like, and this is how it all started. About the money matches. I was notorious for money matching literally everybody. I don't care how good, I don't care how bad you are. If you play this game, I'll money match you. I mean, I money match people, I used to go to tournaments all day, and I would just money match people. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're Ken. I don't care if you're PC Chris. I don't care if you're Isaiah. I'll money match you, $5. Why? Because I want to get better. It's an investment. Money matches are an investment to your skill level. Because if you play against, casuals, grudge matches, sure. I mean, I'm not saying they sandbag, but they don't have much of an incentive to go all out against you. They don't have a reason, a motivating factor. When you put in the money matches, that gives them incentive to make sure they win. And to win with flying colors. Because you want that. You want that money. You want to make sure you don't want to lose that $5. So that's why I used it as like an investment, as a motivation to myself. Because that's how I use the money matches, Not for, if I beat them, I get money, great. No, but it's an investment. It's an investment towards my skill. Entering in tournaments, the entry fee, everything, that's all investments to your skill, to yourself, to your skill level, to your mentality, to everything, to your discipline. Can you control yourself? Can you control yourself with like how, like, can you control, that's my train of thought. Like, can you control, like how, like, you can control your nerves, you can control how you're, thinking, and can you play smart? Can you play aggressive? Can you play defensive? Like, how far do you want to go? Do you want to lame it out? I mean, some people like to lame things out, just play Jigglypuff. And but stuff like that, it's very, very, just very subtle things that you want to work on. So it's interesting.
There's, hold on, I think I might have, nope, got some more. There's that story of you like posting all the people you wanted a money match or something on the, was it Smashboards or at an actual tournament?
This is Smashboards.
Oh wait, I might actually be out. Yep, I'm out. Okay, cool. We'll take this opportunity to change up the card.
Okay. Do you think it'd be better if we turn it off? Because
actually, I was thinking of maybe moving you a little closer to the camera, and like kind of changing it up.
Okay.
A little bit. And new slate. This thing is so awkward. It'd be nice if there was like a way to put it down. Slate. Okay. We were just about to talk about something awesome.
The money match list?
Yes. Your ridiculous money matches. So yeah, go ahead.
So I remember this one time. I think it was Cataclysm. It was Cataclysm 2. And I remember I was posting up some people that I type in who wants to money match on the forums. I was getting a couple replies, and then after a while it just became like a huge swarm of posts of people that just wants to money match me. And then after that I was just like, I see some guy posting, I'm like, money match? Another guy posts, money match? Another guy posts, money match? And I was just so aggressive with my money matching that it turns out that when I came in to the tournament, like I couldn't remember the people that I was supposed to money match. So I printed out a list of the people that I was supposed to money match. And I'm pretty sure the list was, I remember, it was double spaced. I think it was size 8 font Times New Roman. And every line had one person, $5, $1, $20, $10, $5, $5. 2 pages full. 2 pages of that list. And probably had about maybe $200 worth of money matches.
Did you have that money with you, or were you counting on your skill?
Like I had the money at the time. Like I'm not the kind of guy that would be like, oh yeah, I lost, I'll pay back. None of those guys. I did have the money on me, but I mean I was hoping I wouldn't lose them all. I was money matching, PC Chris. I was money matching Isaiah. I was money matching PC Chris. I was money matching Chudat. And I was money matching a couple of other people too, really famous people. And I didn't care. I mean, as long as you play Smash, I'll money match you. I don't care about your skill up. If you just want to money match, let's money match. Let's go. Because I think it's like a special kind of. It has instant value where it's like you go to a tournament, you don't see the value unless you see like the grand finals. The money matches are kind of different because you see the value, the intrinsic money value immediately. And it's just you hop in right away and there's money on the line. So it kind of adds that pressure. But I think it's fun. I think it's fun as hell.
Yeah. I can see it like when in the when there's money on the line. It's like it changes people's way that they perform.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my god. But people, always that thing. Yeah. It's just that because people think, they see money matches is like money matches is the best way how you got better. It's like people think like money matches is the way how I got good. It's part of it. But money matches is not the solution to everything. It's just a piece of the puzzle. It's the underlying thing of, when you're money matching people, a lot of people, you're being put in that pseudo-esque tournament environment, and it really puts you over the edge. It's the mentality behind the money matches that are important as well as the money matches themselves. So, I mean, money matches plays a role, not a pivotal role, but a very good, important role.
Nice. Yeah. If we talked about like general stuff like if you were to approach, say, a teacher or anybody really, and had to describe Smash straight up as a game in the most general terms, like to a 3-year-old, I guess, how would you describe it?
So explain it like they're 5?
Yes. Yes.
Smash Brothers is a game where you fight people using Nintendo characters. It's a let me start over. That was terrible. Yeah. So Super Smash Brothers Melee is a game for the GameCube. It's a fighting game, and that's up for debate, but it's a fighting game. Let me start over. Oh, if I say that, oh.
I know, I was gonna say people are gonna kill you.
No, because I admit it is, but there's like so much controversy. Like, is Smash Brothers a fighting game? And then it'll just be like a huge debate, and it'll be terrible. And okay. So Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers. This is the hardest thing in the interview. Is just explaining to someone like they're 5. This is hard.
You don't have to. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. Because I can chop it up too.
Okay. So Super Smash Brothers Melee is a game for the GameCube. I think I said it right, but this is okay. God. Super Smash Brothers Melee is a game for the GameCube. It's a game that you can play single player in a single player campaign, but the charm of it is it's a multiplayer. And you would want to play it. Generally, you can play with the computers, but you can. The best part about it is playing with your friends. You can play with items,
Nice.
but
And like the mechanics of it too, like you know, if you looked at the Final Destination, for example,
Mhm.
as someone who'd never played it before, like if you could describe like how the like when you grab that controller and you're looking at that screen, what is it you want to do?
so when you're playing and you're controlling and the characters of the game is like the Nintendo franchise. Is from the Nintendo franchise. So the point of the game, the objective of the game is to knock your opponent off all the way to the side of the screen, knock them all the way up, or send them all the way down. And by doing it by hitting them up. If you hit them high enough in the air, they go out and they go spinning and they die. Or if you hit them to the side, they'll die. Or down, they fall down, they die. So it's a pretty violent game, you know. I think it should be rated M.
Definitely rated M.
Yes. A lot of gore. Anyways. But
Yeah, what about
Yeah.
that? Like the game itself, and maybe talk about like respond to like the criticism that it's too cartoony to be a fighting game, I guess.
I mean, really, like, it's really the people who complain about aesthetic features of a game are not looking at like the heart, the meat of, you know, what makes a game good, which is the gameplay. I don't care if I'm playing, you know, with Super Nintendo graphics. I mean, it'll be cool if I can play with good graphics, but if the gameplay is fun, if it's challenging, if it's engaging, and if there's a good metagame. If there's a good metagame, then it just really, like, it just makes you want to play the game so much because there's so much to learn. And the competitive scene, if this game is competitive, which Melee is very competitive. There's a lot of people going through the technology, you know, figuring out new stuff even now. Like, and it's just people who say, you know, oh, it's a Nintendo franchise, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, you're just you're compensating, you know, your hobbies and stuff like that, and to be saying that you're playing a game, a kiddie game, it's just like you just have to be like, so it's just such a superficial level, on such a superficial level. Like, this game is so good, like it's just like the engine is fantastic for Melee because, you know, just two things, just wave dashing and L canceling. Those two advanced techniques completely change the game. They completely they change the way the game is played. It definitely does, but in a good way. Definitely in a good way. And
The element too that I always loved was that it's so easy to get into.
yeah, I mean, everybody's heard of Super Smash Brothers. They all know the game. And it's just the fact that it's just that a bad player playing against a really good player, that bad player will never win. For bad games, a bad player can beat a good player. I think that should never happen. And there are games that are like that, where bad players can beat good players. I'm not gonna name any games, but I'm saying it's possible. But in a game like Melee, where it's like the tech skill, you have to dedicate just tons and tons of practice on just moving, on just attacking. Not learning combos, but just attacking and just moving around. It takes so much practice and so much dedication that really the game is just so in depth and it just adds a sense of depth that, you know, not many other games or any game can really, you know, match up to that kind of level in terms of the aspect of you just doing the most simple things and still being able to, you know, to move around and attack and just pressing a lot of buttons and microing on your controller, going absolutely crazy. But, you know, it's one of those things.
It's funny because you talked too about because you know, any the